What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. In this episode, we're going to go over the life of Nikko Jenkins. If you don't know who he is, you will after this episode. You're about to enter into a mind of complex mental health issues and a generation of dysfunctional behaviors that has run deep in their family. Evil's one way to describe them, crazy is another. But I'll let you decide which one you think fits them.
Nikko Jenkins.
Nikko Jenkins.
Nikko Jenkins.
Nico Jenkins. Nico Jenkins.
Nico Jenkins.
Nico Jenkins.
Nico Jenkins.
Nico Jenkins.
Nikko Jenkins says, "The demonic forces just attacked me. I can't sleep 36 hours at a time until I did the first one." Nikko Jenkins killed 4 people over a span of 10 days in Omaha, Nebraska in August 2013. He later said he did it to please the ancient Egyptian serpent god Apophis, who had told him to kill. In July 2013, 26-year-old Nikko Jenkins finally walked out of prison after serving more than 10 years on carjacking. But within just a month of his release, he committed the 4 murders that now have him awaiting a death sentence. The first 2 murders came on August 11th. When Jenkins randomly shot 2 strangers, Juan Pena and George Ruiz, who was sitting in their car when he robbed them. The third victim, Curtis Bradford, died of gunshot wounds in a garage on August 19th and was the only victim that Jenkins actually knew and they had met in prison. The final victim, Andrea Kruger, died after being shot by Jenkins in the street on August 21st. Police picked up Jenkins on an unrelated charge of making terrorist threats on August 30th, but also had surveillance footage and ballistic evidence implicating him in the Kruger killing. He made their job easy and simply started confessing a few days later. Throughout these rambling confessions that lasted some 8 hours, Jenkins claimed that the 4 deaths were a sacrifice to an Egyptian demon snake god, Apophis. "This is gonna be a long night," he said. "When we're here talking, it just comes out like a computer. My head kept pounding. Boom, 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 boom. I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's the demonic forces. They attacked me," Jenkins repeated again. "I can't sleep 36 hours at a time until I did the first one." Ultimately, after confessing to the other murders as well, Jenkins broke down in tears as he told detectives that he would just wanted treatment for the various mental illnesses he claimed to have had, illnesses that he also claimed were ignored by the Nebraska Department of Corrections throughout his time in prison. "The Department of Corrections is so responsible," he told detectives. "This is the equivalent to me being a pit bull, and they pull it off the chain, and whoever it hurt, you're responsible for it. Because you knew the danger of the animal. You knew the danger you created in that cell." He later even filed a $24 million lawsuit against the state of Nebraska, one that never came to pass, claiming that they failed to treat his mental illnesses while he was in prison and released him way too early. On April 16, 2014, less than a year after confessing to the murders, Nikko Jenkins pleaded no contest to the charges of first-degree murder. Shortly afterward, court-appointed psychiatrists believed that Jenkins was not competent to stand trial. One clue was that Jenkins performed various self-mutilations while in custody. In April 2015, he tried to carve the number 666 into his forehead. But because he was looking in a mirror while doing so, the numbers came out backwards, like an upside-down 9. On June 27, 2015, he cut the word Satan into his face and then cut his tongue down the middle into a snake shape. In September 2015, Jenkins told a judge that he was listening to the voice of Apophis when he attempted to cut his penis into the shape of a serpent and did enough damage to require 27 stitches. Despite his years of mental issues, Nico Jenkins stood trial in 2014. During the trial, which was held as a bench trial in front of 3 judges as opposed to in front of a jury at Jenkins' request, he represented himself and engaged in unusual behavior, including speaking in tongues and laughing while his murders were described. In April, he was found guilty but wasn't sentenced to death until 3 years later. Authorities delayed his sentencing in order to evaluate him psychologically and be sure that he could understand the proceedings at hand. Ultimately, they concluded that he was fit to receive the death penalty. Throughout the sentencing for his 4 shootings, Nico Jenkins sat stone-faced and silent. A stark contrast to the rambling, excitable demeanor he displayed while confessing to those same murders more than 3 years before. Now, when I was researching this case, I kept asking myself, what would make someone do something like this? And the answer kept bringing me back to his childhood. The family's timeline goes back to 1860, and from my research, I found out Nico Jenkins' extended family has wreaked havoc on Omaha for generations. The family has struggled through generations of poverty, alcohol, drug abuse, child neglect, and crime. Levi Levering was the respected face of the family a century ago, when he earned an impressive reputation as an Omaha tribal leader and advocate. His influence extended all across Nebraska and even into Washington, D.C., where he was successfully lobbied a Congress in 1920 to protect tribal members' rights to their land. But the current generation of the Jenkins family has been nothing short of chaos. And 5 other relatives, 2 of Nico Jenkins' sister, his mother, his cousin, and uncle, have also been charged in connection with the killings. A World Heritage examination of Levering's history shows that 38 descendants of Levi Levering have been convicted of 633 crimes in Omaha since 1979. Those cases have cost taxpayers at least $2.8 million in prison and jail costs, not even counting the price tag of law enforcement, juvenile cases, and prosecution or public defense. Family members have been involved in at least 150 other cases during that period that ended in acquittals, mistrials, and dropped charges. The family's notorious. The police know the family, and they know they're about that life. But what sets the Leverings apart is they end up in the papers with some very high-profile cases. Public records and interviews with the family acquaintances, law enforcement officials painted the portrait of a family that has been deteriorated through escalating violent crime, drug and alcohol abuse, and child neglect. Authorities have removed at least 20 children from various Levering family homes. Both Nico Jenkins' parents, Lori Jenkins and David McGee, were convicted of felonies during his childhood, and he grew up watching them fight. Lori Jenkins, Nico's mom, even stated, "Me and Nico's dad had a lot of violence in our relationship." So it's not surprising that someone like Nico Jenkins would come from that kind of situation. When you're young and you see that, it's almost like it becomes normal, and you just think that's how everyone lives their life. As for Nico Jenkins, he is currently on death row in the Nebraska Department of Corrections, although he's recently attempted suicide for the 4th time. He may just end his life before Nebraska actually has a chance to. Now, I heard about this case a while ago, and the first thing that drew me to this case was Nico's tattoos. As you can see, he's got a lot of them. The second was the way he grew up. Everything he witnessed as a child, I'm sure sculpted who he became in one way, shape, or form later on in life. Murdering other innocent people isn't a way to deal with your shitty life. If I'm being real, I somewhat kind of feel his pain, but I really feel the pain for Andrea Kruger. She begged for her life, but Nico Jenkins executed her with 4 shots from a 9mm rifle, and it was the deer slug that linked him to her murder and the others. Then Nico's uncle torched the car. Nico took a woman that was supposed to raise her 2 children, but now he puts that same family in a position to grow up in a dysfunctional household just like he did. Those children won't have their mother to talk to hold, and show them love, and it's that I cannot respect. I don't know exactly how much his mental health played in this case. What I do know is when you're locked up, you don't get very good medical care for mental health. I mean, obviously Nico had something going on. He cut his penis into the shape of a serpent. But anyways, as always, prayer to the families that Nico Jenkins destroyed. You know, just because you get dealt a shitty hand in life doesn't mean you gotta play those cards. It just means you gotta do a lot more work to make sure you don't become that statistic. If you've enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. And with that, it's DOC TV and I'm out.